Yo, yo, yo. See how many people join up in this thing. Click on my own thing. Bam. Bam. Yo, picker, yo. All right, let me see if I got to shift this over. You guys hear me good or not? All right, perfect. Even better. Let me see if I flip this camera over. Does it freeze or? uh, Hold up. One sec. Let me just hold up. Let me see if I could flip horizontally. Let me. Now you know what, I'm gonna just leave it as is. Oh man. Oh man. So what is going on, people of the YouTube world? Um, shit. I never did this before. Oh, there it is. There it is. Here's my Pepsi. Here's my stuff. I got things going on, and I'm about to explain a whole lot of stuff. So ask whatever question you guys want in the detailing industry, whether it's products, whether it's um freaking, independent reviewer, non-independent reviewer, whether you think, things in the detailing industry is too buddy buddy, whatever you guys want, I don't care. I'm gonna answer everything just the way things are, man. It's just I'm about to put a lot of things, and if I'm lying, yo, I'm dying, literally. So that's pretty much it. Just type it in. Appreciate you, picker. Everybody coming in. You know what? Let me grab my daughter's uh, board right here just in case. Now, just a quick heads up. I did use Yum today, and I put it side by side against Nemesis V2. I mean, that was typical. That was too close. Rinses washes for sure. If I had to choose either or, it all depends. I know some people said that I think Yum they sell it in a 5 liter, but yeah, I mean just a lot of things, man. A lot of things. Yo, what's going on, Todd? Put this a little bit higher, probably closer. Hit us with the bias talk. All right, all right, all right. So let's go with the bias talk. All right. So let's talk about biased. All right, so a couple people, you know, there's a lot of people out there that just, am I going to SEMA? No, I'm not going to SEMA, Todd. But there's a lot of people out there that says, yo, you know, there's people that say they're independent reviewers and they're not biased. And then if you're with Thor or you're with TRC or you're with ADS, whatever brand you support, it doesn't matter. If you are a say a creator or content creator for X specific type of I'm going to say distribution company, right? Because that really makes sense. It's not necessarily a brand, because there's a difference between when you like a brand versus a distribution company. Yes, the House of Rags is a brand within itself, but at the same time they're really a distribution company for all other brands that are out there, right? And then same thing with the Rag Company. They're the same thing. They are also a brand with themselves because they have their towels, they have certain things that they make and stuff, and but yet they are also a distribution company for all the other brands. So that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of a whole bunch of people saying, I only trust this reviewer or this other independent reviewer, that is all BS, bro. Talking about, they're objectively biased and, you can't go with this crowd because they're biased. You can't go with this other crowd. Dude, use whoever the fuck you want. Literally. Nobody cares which brand you use. The whole point is, for me, there's a difference between there's a bias as a DIYer, a weekend warrior, an enthusiast, and also a actual business. Which one fits your criteria? You have Joel's Details, they use Coach Kimmy, PNS, they use a whole bunch of brands, but guess what? Joel and them, they fucking still get awesome results. I use the brands that I use and I get phenomenal results. There is no different, is the cost and what it costs to you and what works for you in your environment. That's literally all it comes down to. Like there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I cannot be biased. You support Thor, for example." I'm using myself because I don't want to, say everybody else, but I'm going to use myself as a prime example. Is nobody wants to, your reviews aren't trustworthy anymore because you work for Thor. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, the only thing for Thor that I make is just a how to video. That's it. I have no idea, what are their next brand they're going to bring onto the website. I don't know what is their plan for in terms of when they're going to have discounts. I have no idea in terms of stuff that goes behind the scenes. I just make the video, go on with my day. Use the stuff I like, talk positive or negative. That's it. I could do whatever I want on my channel, and that's pretty much it. And all these independent reviewers talking about, yo, they can't be biased. You are automatically biased. And it doesn't matter. I'm gonna tell everybody, all these reviewers, everybody that reviews a product, even if you review a product starting tomorrow, you are biased, bro. You are automatically biased because it all depends on what you're looking for. You're automatically biased if cost is an issue. That's it. If it's a cost and you're like, anything over 20 bucks is not my thing, guess what? You already limit yourself to a whole bunch of other stuff. You already bias if a product, if you use a wax or a ceramic sealant and it works for you in, New York or Seattle or Canada, whichever the cold climates, and then you use it in, say, Florida or Texas or California and it doesn't last, you automatically bias. You already made yourself a biased person. The only subjective thing is the product good initially? And this is what everybody needs to understand. Is the product good initially? Does it smell good? Does it make your hand, dry? Um, does it give you a feedback if you're coughing and using a chemical? These are the things that people look for, right? Not the whole, oh, this costs 12 bucks and I could do the same thing with Armor All. There's certain things, there's good surfactants, bad surfactants. The same way everybody says, oh, I could get the same results with Super Clean. I've burned plastic fucking trim with Super Clean. It's not saying their product isn't good. It's just one of those things where you have to be a little bit more careful. Sometimes a little bit more care comes with, um, a little bit more care comes with what on your environment, how you're using it. When I was using Super Clean, it was awesome for me in the wintertime. Don't get me wrong. I dilute that thing 10 to 1, clean the rims and tires, clean the rubber trim. Guess what? I let it dwell there for too long. Summertime, again, this is me. 2019, 2018. New detailer, actually getting into the detailing gig, and I stained the plastic trim. Stained the plastic trim, and that's it. I did that with Built Hamber as well, because everybody has a bias, right? Built Hamber is popular in the UK, and I always used to see all these UK um, influencers and reviewers use Built Hamber or Autoglim. They will use it out there, but if you notice, most of the time in the UK, it's always cloudy and forecasted. And then in New York, it was a lot of sun. I have a lot of sunny days. Most of their times they're always using it. It's overcast, and they're like, "Oh, we letting this dwell for 15, for 5 to 10 minutes, and then they rinse it off." Yeah, but the sun is what really embeds everything into the paint. That's what causes stains. It's the sun. Anybody could detail on an overcast day. You're not gonna get any type of thing. Same thing with polishing. It was a dream when I didn't have my garage that all you guys know. It was such a dream to polish on overcast day when a customer came in. It's like, yo, it's overcasted. My wife and I are outside polishing because guess what? Polish isn't going to dry the same as if it was a sunny day. So these are things that people really gotta tune themselves into. Everybody's fucking biased, bro. Everybody's biased. Use what you like. Now, in terms of cost, right? Everybody says that, and this is another thing. Everybody says they're objectively biased, but yet they have a BMW M3. They also have a Porsche. They also have all these high-end cars. They're like, this is my collectible, but I'm gonna shop for the cheapest chemical that he could find. I'm like, you're not being you can't say you're objectively biased and frugal while you're buying these other things saying that you're objectively biased. It's like, show that you're objectively biased and you want to buy things that is point A to point B. Everybody's like, oh, I could do anything with super clean, but yet they have a BMW M3. It's like, dude, I could, why don't you buy a Prius? You could literally drive a Prius from point A to point B. You don't need to buy an M3. You don't need to buy an M6. You don't need to buy none of these high end vehicles because you're saying that you are a point A to point B person. That is, if you're gonna, this is what I mean. Nobody, everybody's biased from here on out. The minute you buy a product, you're biased, period, on what you're looking for. Now, in terms of people bashing other brands or saying, yo, why can't we make reviews on stuff that don't work? Well, there's a difference, right? There's a difference between constructive feedback and there's a difference between, and this is coming from me, there's a difference between constructive feedback and things that somebody will take feedback on versus versus saying, yo, this product pretty much sucks. Like, for example, if I was to go to Armor All and give them my issues and my 2 cents and this, that, the third, they don't care. Same thing with Turtle Wax and same thing with Meguiar. Some in certain aspects, those are hard to reach because they sell so much of it. It's like I'm just a 1%er of the world. I am not, I am a detailer. To them, they're looking at the everyday consumer. So for the everyday consumer, most of this stuff just works great. They like it. They don't really see swirls or scratches. They'll grab their quick detailer, dry the car, and call it beyond their day. But it's so rare that these top companies will take your feedback because we are just such the 1%, right? And yeah, man, that's pretty much it. There's everybody's biased, bro. Every reviewer is biased the minute you think of what you're looking for, right? It's like I want an iron remover that doesn't smell. I'm pretty sure there's a phenomenal iron remover out there that probably stinks like complete ass. I mean, Sedero is one of them. They stink pretty bad, but I deal with it based on cost because it's my business. But there's probably one that stinks even worse than that, and probably could be better than Sedero, but I don't use it because I'm already biased on what I'm looking for. So that that is that. I'm gonna Ty say I drive a Volkswagen, a 2011 Volkswagen Jetta. Yo, why couldn't you drive? Now people are gonna say, yo, why can't you drive instead of a Volkswagen 2011 Jetta? Why don't you buy a 2011 Toyota Camry? It's cheaper and parts are cheaper. I mean, you got to look at the parts that you're looking for, right? These are the bias that people look in and look after, right? You probably chose the Volkswagen Jetta because you were looking a little bit more on, yes, it looks way better than the 2010 Toyota Camry, a little bit more luxurious. All this other stuff probably costs a little bit more too. But at the end, I gotta clean the lens. But at the end, that was the bias that you chose for, right? You were shopping based on your budget and what you were looking for. You were probably looking for a little bit better looks. You were looking for the paint to be a bit better than the other ones that were out there. Um, and you were willing to sacrifice money in terms of, you were probably willing to sacrifice money in terms of repairs than anything else. So, yo, Conway, what's going on? Exactly. That's exactly my point, Conway. It's like the Volkswagen, yes, it looks like you're paying less, but no, overall in time you're paying way more. Yo, Danny, what's going on, my brother? No, I'm not going to SEMA, unfortunately, this year. Not going to SEMA. Picker. You see, J Farm, you pretty much said it yourself. You're not a creator, but if the product sucks, I just wouldn't release a video. Exactly, and that's another thing too. It's like it takes a lot of effort to make these videos. Like even if somebody makes it half-ass, it still takes time just to get the angle. I mean, Shine from Tim from Shine Your Light Detailing, like he will tell you, like he's like, I try to go stuff, but most of the time I'm like, yo, we're gonna wing it. This is how I'm gonna do things, and we just gonna keep it pushing because it takes time. Like Ty and Tim and I could have we detailed the car in about an hour, but Yeah, in about an hour it took us. But when we're recording, it adds an extra 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes if you start stuttering and don't grab your thoughts. It's one of those things that gets super annoying because you want to grab every detail and talk about what's going on. And if a product sucks, it's like I'm wasting time to call a product sucks. And then if you make a 3 minute video saying a product sucks, then your video isn't valid because it's like you only used it once and said it sucks. So these are the things that people need to understand. Like how often are these other people, testing the products? Am I right or wrong? Let's keep it a buck. How often are people, they could tell you off screen that they're using this a bunch of times, right? Oh, but because he told me, that's what it's like, dude, you don't fully know, right? That's one of those things. It's like you really got to test up. And Titan Tim and I, like Titan Tim will tell you, I actually test products. Like I've invited him to my house to test a couple products that we're like, yo, is this gonna be worth it? Like, is this product worth it? And he comes over, we're testing it on a panel. I grab one of my neighbor's cars. No videos, no nothing. It's just I have videos recorded to show in the future that hey, I've been testing this product, so all of you can see. And that's why I always put that overhead thumbnail on all my videos of me using the same product on another vehicle because there's a difference between somebody said I've used this a bunch and then don't show anything but the car in front of them versus saying hey, I've used this 2 or 3 times, here's the overhead of me using the same product. So so that is something that people need to understand, bro. It doesn't matter which distribution company you work for or whatever. You as an individual detailer, yo, what's going on, Juice Free? Anybody is Everybody is completely biased before they even buy a product. Period. Not even the review itself. Before you buy a product, you are already biased based on cost, based on what you're looking for on performance, and based how much are you getting in terms of value. That is pretty much it on this. Exactly, Conway. Bro, you're exactly, Juice Free. Everybody's biased regardless, bro. It doesn't matter, bro. Exactly what I said. You're biased off rip. J Farm's biased. Conway's everybody's biased first because they want to see me. I'm biased as a business person. What brand gives me the best value as a business and what is a bit safer for me? That's why I use Labo. I never say any brand is the best. I just say Labo to me makes possibly one of the best cleaning products, period. Meaning in terms of their alkaline soap, their Purifica. I love their Sudero. It's dilutable. I could buy I could buy their iron remover, $20, diluted 1 to 3, and I have 3.5 um 16-ounce bottles ready to use. Like it's for me as a business. And then there's other people that want to use a more expensive iron remover. By all means, use it, right? If you're a DIYer and the cost is so marginal, no DIYer goes through a gallon of rinseless within a year. I don't care if you were to buy it. For example, J Farm, if you were to buy, I'm just using you because you're just the last one to type anything. No DIYer goes through a gallon of rinseless in a year. No DIYer, bro. It takes me 6 months to go through a gallon of rinseless because it's 128 ounces. If I'm using 2 gallons of water, or say 2 ounces, that is 64 freaking weeks if you're a DIYer of product. And you're not gonna objectively tell me that, you know, that this is the best or this isn't the best, or bro, nobody's saying something's the best. Somebody's just saying, yo, this is the review, this is my initial thoughts, and this is what I'm using. And that is pretty much my entire YouTube channel is education. That is my thing is how to use that initially. Does it work? I've never say any sort of I never said any sort of products is the best really on my channel. I've never really said that at all. In terms of ceramic coatings, I'm like, dude, I say no matter what company, I say if it's a 5 year coating, to me, I give it 2 to 3 years. That's me personally because I'm so used to it in New York, right? That is the New York mindset. I've never had a coating truly last besides, again, this is real world on my personal vehicle is Roar Coatings, the base coat, which was rated a 3 year, and CarPro C-Quartz UK 3.0, which lasted me 2 years. So with that being said, I mean, those are the only two. That's 5 years. Think about it, from 2019 to 2025. And I just now I put on C6 Diamond. I'm not here testing coatings. And a couple of these, um, and 90% of the time, even if you're a DIYer, after 2 years, you're gonna want to swap out the coating regardless. Nobody grabs a coating and say, I'm really gonna hold this for 5 years. I do it because I want to see if it's truly how long it could possibly last. I never give it its full lab test durability. And that's another great point. Shine your light. It's Tim. It's new versions all the time. Exactly. ONR is a perfect example. Same thing with Nemesis is a perfect example. If you're a DIYer, and I'm just bringing out all the brands or distributors, doesn't really matter. Is if somebody bought a gallon of Nemesis and somebody bought a gallon of ONR V5, yo, it was crazy. V5 to V6 from ONR was only 10 months apart. It was, yeah, I think it was like 10 months apart. It felt like they released it in TRCC, but then it came out like to everybody in like the late fall, and then out of nowhere, 10 months later, V6 came out. It's one of those things where is it lucrative to buy a gallon, right? If you're a DIYer, even as a business, it only lasts 6 months, And if you look at I'm gonna show you my garage real quick. If y'all look at my garage, I have no gallons in terms of rinseless washes. This is Ivan. This is I even still have Owner's Pride that I still use. Owner's Pride Eco Wash. This is Nemesis V2. This is Yum that I just started using. I have pans right over there. It's like, dude, it's none of these. I don't buy gallon rinseless washes because I always flip flop on what the mood is. It's the same thing with pH neutral soaps. Use what you like, what you're in the mood for, and that's pretty much it. Use what you're in the mood for. I have a whole bunch of products. To me, when people ask me, yo, what's the best tire dressing? To be quite honest, it's kind of hard to say what's the best tire dressing because to me, all tire dressings are pretty much the same. Tell me a tire dressing that lasts more than 2 weeks after 2 to 3 rainstorms. The only time a product lasts 2 weeks is if it never rained for those 2 weeks. Like, it's that's just a detailing industry in a nutshell. He says I put all my rinseless washes in an old 32. Yeah, there you go. And put that in there. He says sock wants a double after game. And then what else? What else? Bro, I haven't had no tire dressing. The only thing that lasted the most was the tire sealant, and that's when I used the Optimum. When they had their tire sealant, that when you put it on your tires, it turned blue, but you had to wait like an hour or two for it to really cure in. And Dark Side Max I got was like 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. Somebody gave me a bit of ADS Ghost, and that lasted me like what, close to a month. But that's because again, it all depends. Everybody's bias is how you're driving, right? I was driving close to 1,000 miles a month. I was doing 250 miles a week. And again, if you're already driving to 2 to 3 rainstorms, you're cooked. That tire dressing is nothing. It is literally nothing. And if you're in down south in Texas or my cousin in Miami, that heat eats it up real quick too. Solvent based tire dressing. Yep, tire dressing. Yeah, solvent based tire dressings do last. But again, this is why I'm talking about Dark Side. You had Optimum, which had their tire sealant. We had like some SiO2 on it. Um, those are the ones that are going to last the most. But the problem with those is once you're done, it kind of tends to look blotchy afterwards. And then when you try to clean it and apply another tire dressing, after a couple of days, you'll get those blotched areas. So is is it worth it putting a tire sealant on something that you know you're driving 1,000 to 2,000 miles a month? Is it really reasonable? That is what I'm trying to get at. Juice free. Is it really reasonable? Because you're going to get those blotch spots. Yo, Gary. Yo, what's going on, 404? And like I said, it doesn't matter the brand. You can name brands. I use pretty much almost everything under the sun. Almost my wife and I spent over $5,000 on a bunch of stuff. And if you go back to my videos 3 years ago, you'll see all the other brands. I was using Optimum, G Technic. I didn't use G Technic C2V3, and even though I had it in my garage, I told all of y'all before because I got receipts. I used to say this isn't good because it streaks a lot. Oh, what do you know? 2 years later, I was talking out of my ass, and then out of nowhere, 2 years later, G Technic comes out with C2V3 version 2. Oh, it doesn't streak, much easier to use, and everybody started sucking their cock. Yo, what's going on? Yeah, but that again, that's solvent bait. It all depends where you're driving at something. That's what I'm trying to get at is if you're driving near a dirt road, gravel road, stuff like that, some areas where there's heavy construction, narrow didn't last for me. It did not last for me. Again, 2 weeks max. 2 weeks max. He said, "Did you, Gary? Did I cover on why you moved? If so, no need to. No, I didn't cover. So pretty much the reason why I moved, yo, bro, New York's too damn expensive. I live in New York City. Taxes just for a home in the hood, because I live in Jamaica, Queens, pretty much was close to $9,000 to $10,000 to live in the hood a month, just property tax. And then some of the homes are selling for like $650, $700 with your mortgage. If you put 10% down, my mortgage was like 6,800 to 7,800 a month. I'm not even making that a month before taxes. Like you're wild if you think no. It was That's the reason why I moved, and then New York just isn't the way it is anymore. It's just a lot changed. I don't know. It's just and I do have two daughters and a wife, and I don't want them to grow up in my environment. You know what I'm saying? Just me growing up, and in my area it wasn't the best, but it's easier if you're a guy because you have something, to take care of yourself. Yo, yo, something wrong. A year? Nah, you're wild. You are. Sock is a millionaire influencer. Hell no. Apparently, I'm biased, bro. Apparently, I'm biased, and everybody else an independent reviewer, and they're all unbiased for everything and object. You can objectively test anything however long you want, but when people say I've objectively tested this thing for this much, when they only have one or two cars, you're freaking. There's no way. There's no way you objectively tested every single product when you have one or two cars. That's just me personally. There's no way. There's no way. Unless you're a business, that's the only way you could test stuff is if you're a business and you do it as a business. But if you're an independent person, there's so many variables when you do these independent tests. And the main variable is, did you prep the panel right? There's certain people that have like 36 different coatings on the car, and they'll have IGL coatings on half of the hood, and then on the other half they have System X, and then on the side lowers they'll have CarPro UK, DIY Detail, then they'll have Optimum all on the lower side, and they're like, well, as you can see, Optimum didn't really last long on this front quarter panel. I'm like, yeah, and they're like, IGL lasts the best. I'm like, yeah, and System X. I'm like, yeah, because you put it on the freaking hood, and then whatever you put on the roof's it's gonna last pretty much as long as possible. So I got a super chat. Yo, KB, appreciate the super chat. Sorry, I wasn't looking right there. Appreciate that. $5. Thank you for the support. Hopefully, this makes me less biased, quote unquote. The only way to test like we do is through our shop. Some weeks we have exactly Conway. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's hard to be an independent reviewer and say this is what works for me when you only have one or two cars. If you're a business, again, I've tested a whole bunch of stuff in 5 years. I don't have, your type of clientele, Conway, and that's perfectly fine for me to say. But throughout my whole lifetime, I've done a bunch of cars. mm, about like six about like 50 to 60% of those customers were repeat or maintenance customers. I was able to test and show throughout time. um so yeah, so that's how things go. um Gary says, you're I'm a fan of gold standard polish. I usually use their waffle pad and experience using that polish with a different pad. um oh, appreciate you, Conway, for the super chat. Appreciate the 20 bucks. And so in terms of using the gold standard polish with another pad, gold standard polish works with any pad. Any pad. I've used Lake Country. I've used it with with uh with the Euro 5050. Go back to one of my videos. Go onto my channel right now. If you're watching right now, go to my channel, click on live. I use the coarse blue wool pad. I've used the Eurofiber 5050 pad with the gold standard polish when they first came out. And I've used it with plenty of pads. The polish works great with everything. It just is, as everything in life, I said, gold standard just doesn't have enough cut and doesn't work well on harder clear coats. And the proof is in the pudding on that live that I did 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Just click on that live, and when gold standard came out, and you will see that it didn't cut. I had to use the last cut compound to get that cut to remove those water spots. Um, that's that's pretty much it, really. I mean, most of these compounds are give and take, right? I like the work time of the gold standard and I like the finish. Is it less oily than 3D1 and Optimum Hyper Polish? Yes. I was telling people I use Optimum Hyper Polish, and again, look at my videos 3 years ago. I like to use products because I don't like to throw them out because I'm a business, right? I still spent money on those products. Can I make it work, and does it work? Yes. But I'm trying to look for something that will make me a little bit more efficient. Anything that could shave off an extra 5 to 10 minutes is gold. Like that's literally what it is. It's gold. It's an extra 5 to 10 minutes. I could probably talk to a customer. 5 to 10 minutes that I can do as a in uh 5 to 10 minutes I could do for marketing, right? For my business. These are things that these little times add up. And that's one of those things. So yeah, gold standard works great. I like the cut and I like the finish on softer to medium clears. But if anything that's higher, you're not gonna get that type of stuff. Um, 3D1, annoying wipe off, works amazingly well. It does give a little bit more cut than gold standard for sure. But in terms of the wipe off, finicky, very oily, you really have to make sure you do a panel prep, because I even used 3D1 with 3D ceramic coating when it came up when Tunj Guren, I forgot it, I think that's how he says his name. I'm sorry if I butcher his name, but this was Auto Geek days, 2019, 2020, when they came out with their 3D ceramic coating. I've used it, and 3D1 was way too oily. I used Car Pro Eraser, and I still needed to use more panel prep. Some areas were failed. So um, those are stuff that people need to understand. Eddie did say you spent 45 minutes per panel. Bro, that's all a joke. We're all just chilling, doing a whole car for fun. It was just training. It was a rotary, and then certain panels didn't finish off the way it was because certain panels were repainted. Um, and we were getting. Here's the funny thing of that story. So even Eddie was having issues finishing off on one side. Then Ivan comes over with the rotary, and we're using the Rupes yellow pad, and we're trying to finish down. And Ivan's like, yeah, give me whatever pad you want, Eddie. And he's like, all right, we're gonna use the Rupes yellow. Boom. So he starts finishing, didn't finish down right. Then we use another pad, didn't finish right. Eddie grabs the Rupes pad and rips it in half and say, yo, this is gonna be a tire applicator from here on out. And that's when we ended up getting the prototypes of the same day of the red pads from DIY Detail before they came out, and it finished down. Like we literally grab it. Ulysses was part of it too, and he will tell you, he will vouch. Like we all throw banter. It's all fun and games, but yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yo, devil's in the details. Be buyers for me, bro. He says I'll put 20 bones on it now. Dance for us. Nah, you're crazy. I can't dance, bro. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I always love it when people ask me what polish and pads to use. Each vehicle is its own beast, even if you have two of the same vehicles and the same paint. Yo, that's exactly right. I have people in my comments. If you look at the save your money, don't waste pads. I'm like, dude, I have a whole bunch of pads. I like X pads, or for example, the DIY pads. I've always liked texture pads. I've always used the McKee's 37 Cool Wave waffle pad, and I've used to use the Optimum waffle pads. But the problem is, I didn't like the Velcro, and it wouldn't stick properly. And then for the McKee's, they were just too thin, and the Optimum was too thick. So the DIY got it perfectly to the right thickness, and that's what I enjoy. Right, I'm not producing a lot of heat, and I'm also not, you know, doesn't feel so bulky that when I use a pad washer it just flings off, and the Velcro is obviously much better. So but that's it. But in terms of cut, DIY detail or any polish really will give you um pretty much the same results. In terms of the DIY pads, if you're doing a one step, it's like I said, it's phenomenal. You can pair it up with whatever compound and polish and use whatever pad is your favorite pad. You will, I guarantee you, you will get a great finish. It's just really the polishes that do most of the work. If you master your technique with your polishing pads, you can make any compound work. I have Titan Tim. He uses Visor, phenomenal detailer. He loves Visor. He finesses it to the point where it doesn't matter what pad or polish combination he uses, he's going to get amazing results because he's already knows, all right, this is the amount of pressure I need, this is what I don't need, this is how I'm gonna finish it, this is how everything comes down to technique. Polishing is an art and it's a technique. Like Conway says, it's every paint is their own beast. That's pretty much it. Is what is the panel telling you? Do I need to give it a little bit more pressure? Do I not need to give pressure? Obviously, you don't want to overly, heat the panel in terms of like physically, because the problem is most of these compounds and polishes uses have oils in it, especially heavy oils, and then that solvent, if you're using it outside, it gets really sticky and grabby, and the solvent is what really swells up the paint the most. So that's pretty much what I've learned. The issue is Jordan not even two of the same vehicles will act the same. Yep, exactly. You can have two of the same makes and models. They won't act the same. It's just your technique, what you use. It's not really the polish combination. It's really more of the technique that you use. Of course, if it's harder clear, then you're gonna do that. But if you have the same medium clear on both cars, so sometimes it may finish off a little bit easier on one than it did with the other. And sometimes it goes for panels. Sometimes people don't know. You have, say the steel panel above, and then you have the plastic aluminum foam on the front bumpers and the rear under bumpers as well. And then it's just like, you know, you don't get the same finish. Definitely, there's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff. Juice free. Have I ever tried the new Harbor Freight new pads? No, I haven't used it, but I've used to use I used their Grants before. I think Grants was the company. Grant before as well. Um, they worked okay. I mean, they're not bad. Again, I just prefer texture pads, and that's just me as a preference. I like the smoothness of a texture pad. It does feel smoother to me than a flat pad. And then if I am to go for cut, I prefer a wool versus a microfiber, especially because the wool does, to me, cools down the paint. And again, this is all my technique because of how I used to detail in the sun, in the heat. Like everybody needs to understand, like that is my thing. That's why I made this YouTube channel, because there was no real detailing in the heat, in the sun, using the soap. Everybody was either in a garage or in an overcast day somewhere in the UK. It's like, yo, bro, nobody detailed out there but Carlos Serranos. He was the only one I saw making videos that was big at the time. And I give kudos to Carlos, was him outside applying DPC coatings, applying whatever coating, Max Shine coatings. He was doing that shit in the sun. And that's, I'm just like, you know what? Nobody makes videos up here on how to properly do it either. So I think it's best that we start showing that it can be done. And it says, I've had two GM trucks, both for the same year and model, both black paint. Yep. Any other questions? Any other questions? Damn, you said I made 40 now. Shake it. Now you crazy. I can't shake my ass right now, man. I'm already spitting facts. I'm already spitting facts. Any other questions that I want on the detailing world? Oh, you know what? I got something. They might be the Cat Williams or freaking Takashi 69 of the detailing world, because I'm just spitting facts. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. The other thing is, so you got certain brands, and again, this is my channel, so I could talk about it. It doesn't really matter. These are my opinions, and not even just opinions. This is facts. So just do your history. So ONR V3, I think, came out in like 2015 or whatever, 2015, 2016. They didn't have a revision from V3 to V4 until 2019. Yeah, 2019, I think. That's when V4 came out. And luckily, I was able to grab a bit of V3 because I was started doing rinseless, 2018, end of 2018, 2019. So I was able to grab the V3. Then later down the line, I grabbed another 32-ounce bottle, and something just didn't feel right. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, and this yada yada yada. But remember, mind you, this is pretty much 5 years. 5 years. I think 2021 was V4 came out. Yeah, I think 2021 V4 came out. I take that back. 2021 was V4 came out, and you can look it online. Just type, just do your research, and yeah, from five, yeah, it took 6 years. I remember it took 6 years for their revision, and yeah, they probably did little formula changes, but their true revision was released, I think, 2021. Their V4. Guess what happened in 2021, fellas? You had 2020 comes out, and you have McKees 37 and 914 rinseless comes out. Then you also have then you had Eco Wash that was already out in 2020. And then after that, I think Griot's Garage ended up having their form of a rinseless wash as well. And then fast forward, and I was using Sublime and stuff like that. 2021 comes around, they make their V4. They're like, wow, okay, that's strange. 2021 V4. What happens in 2022? Absolute Rinseless comes out. What happens in 2022? DIY Detail Rinseless come out. We're like, oh shit, okay. Then V5 comes out. You're like, what? V5 comes out in 2023? Okay, that's weird. And then what happens in 2023, 2024? 2023, Old-Burke releases their rinseless. And then you had Drive Automotive Appearance made, obviously they came out in I think 2021 with their rinseless as well. 2022, they came out with their rinseless. So all these brands started coming out with their rinseless. 2024, obviously last year with Store, they came out with their rinseless. What happens during what happened in 2025 out of nowhere? TRC SEMA or whatever, or beforehand, or an RV6 comes out. It's like, so you were the shit 6 years ago when nobody was doing rinselesses, or Phoenix came out with their rinseless as well, Phoenix EOD. So you were the shit. You were just sitting there. Don't get me wrong, because they were the shit, right? Same thing with Gion and CarPro, but they were just sitting there, just chilling, doing nothing, right? They're like, oh, our shit. But then when these brands come about, they start making their rinseless. They had more revisions in the past 4 years than they ever done between 2015 to 2021. So just keep that in mind, bro. Like, it's not throwing shade. I'm not here to throw shade. I've just said here are the facts, right? Like if you're that superior, and if you really think that it's always a case, you shouldn't really be making that many changes, especially that amount. You've done 3 revisions in pretty much 4 years, and your 1 revision that took 6 years. So that's it. Alrighty, Sock, what is your favorite polishes for soft, medium, and hard clear coats? You see, Wes, I'm gonna be honest. This is my favorite, and I've been telling Titan Tim about this. This is my favorite polish pretty much of all time. Right here. Ceramics polish. The only reason why I didn't, you can use this in 140-degree paints, bro. I've used this. The only thing it doesn't work well for a one step on medium to soft clear coats, or like medium soft to soft clear coats. That is a problem with this product, and it used to dust like crazy. But this is all straight waterborne. It has, yes, everything has a solvent, but the main carrier is water. This has no sense. It literally smells like nothing. It smells like you smelling a bottle of water that you opened up. And this is like pretty much surfactant based, meaning that once you're done and you work it in, it's just a surfactant that's left behind. You have nothing else in here. The only thing is that, so they came out with System 1. This is a new improved formula. They do have something called System 1 that I've been using, and I've been using it around with Titan Tim as well. And System 1 works well, wipes off like a dream. Does it need a little bit more cut? I think it does, but yeah, man, this was a thing. This doesn't dust anymore. This is I've been hyping up. I've been so hyped about this in a while, and Hawaii Tim was telling me for fucking 6 months, yo, you got to revisit ceramics. I'm like, yo, I already used this. This was my jam back in 2019. We were just tired of the dust, and we had to spray distilled water to wipe it up to turn to like a soap. And like 3 weeks ago or whatever, he tells me, he's like, yo, you got to revisit it because it's a new and improved formula. It doesn't dust. I'm like, you couldn't tell me this shit 6 months ago. Like, I'm not gonna try something thinking nothing was reformulated. And yeah, so that's it. So there is no one polish that makes it all, but I think the closest to it is possibly at the moment System 1 from this company, CSI, just to answer your question. Question: what dilution do you use Ragnarok on water spots on paint? So I keep it in a 1 to 5. I keep it as medium as possible, because certain paints, a lot of people don't know this. I'm pretty sure you're just asking just to ask this, Tim, and I'm pretty sure you already know. But acids in general can soften the actual paint. Like, it will soften the paint. So I try to be the least aggressive as possible to remove those water spot scarring. And that's it. If I got to do a second round, I'll do a second round, but I try not to be too aggressive with it. I think a 1 to 5 is the sweet spot for Ragnarok, or maximum 1 to 4. And I think you have a winner and you save money. I think Ragnarok did it right with that. It has like no kickback smell whatsoever. It's like $54 for it, and if you use whoever discount code you want, uh, you'll pay like $40 for it. It's really that good. Uh, let's see. I think people want to change just for the sake of change. Exactly. Everybody wants to grab the next new and improved thing that's on the market or whatever, and they market it that way. Like Jimbo's picture perfect polish, bro. I've used almost 3/4 of it, or a little bit less than half, or exactly half, to do like 3 vehicles, and one of them, it was just drying up too quick. It's nothing. It's not to shoot this down. It's as a DIYer. Would you buy this? Yeah, sure. Why not? Right? Just buy it. If it works, it works. I'm not sitting here saying it doesn't work. The only thing is, for me as a business, it dries up too quick. It dries up too quick, and the wipe off is finicky. For Titan Tim on his end, he's a businessman, and he wants a better wipe off because he does a coating. He does like 2 or 3 coatings every week. So if he's doing that and doing paint enhancement, it gets tiring if you gotta really fight the polish to remove it. So um, that that's how things goes. Sockets are rinseless. Or yeah, man. I've been in there, man. I've been in there. Yo, Infinite Use, yeah, bro. Look, Infinite Juice from Gary Dean is another one. That's super expensive. As an enthusiast, if you want to use it, bro, by all means, use it, bro. D114 from Megs. Yeah, bro, it's also good. I mean, it's not my thing, but as I said, it's what's the feedback that you're looking for. I treat rinseless washes like I treat my pH neutral soaps. What smells? Does it smell good? What smell am I looking for? Most of these days, all pH neutral soaps and rinseless are pretty much almost the same, except with some have better cleaning power and some feel slicker. That's just all what it comes down to. It's all very marginal, but it's what you want and it is what you're looking for. He had to change it, sock, because somebody stole the formula. Ah, gotcha. Have you ever used an optimum coding? No, I was never certified back in the days. I never used an optimum coding. So, but I was able to get my hands on the OptiCode rinser swabs because the guy had some and he was just like, "Oh, here, you buy it from me." But I never was able to use any optimum coding back in the days. System one, yeah, I like that CSI review. Fat polish is now sprayable. He said it may be. Let's see. Yo, what's going on, Eddie? I'm just talking shit here. Oh, so you're leaving tomorrow morning. Nice. Oh, shit. Happy birthday, Titan Tim. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. There it is. Happy B-Day. So I for yeah, man. I think that Wolfgang coding was optimum. The Wolfgang coding I've used before, and yeah, it was trash. What other codings have I used? I've used Blackfire as well. That coding wasn't really that good. And yeah, so what are your thoughts on having to get coding certified from a company? Uh, so what are my so first before I do that, it says what is the easiest polish to wipe off? So easiest polish on wipe off, and Titan Tim could tell you is he put it right there is Endgame. Definitely one of the easiest coatings to wipe off. This is extremely easy to wipe off as well. Um, Another brand, what's another company? I think those are pretty much are the easiest ones that I've used to really wipe off that can say it's all in one. Oh, making sure I got 20 battery life. So yeah, so that I can truly say that. Yeah, that I could truly say easy polish to wipe off. Now, when it comes to compounds, most compounds are typically a little bit more finicky to wipe off, and that's just natural. How often are you really doing a two-step? Not really, right? Ceram XX polish. Ty and Tim and I tried on a hood on this jacked up Buick, and I mean it cut really quick, but it did leave a haze. But again, we use a rotary for that. Let's see. Rick Smith, what are your thoughts on having to get coding certified from a company? I already told Reggie this. For example, you see, I got Labo certified, whatever. Um, there's a pro and a con, right? So in terms of it's a pro in terms of a business because people still want that exclusivity. Not just when I mean people, not really detailers, but really the customer, right? They always still want to feel or have that exclusiveness, right? Um, and do you really need to be coding certified? Most codings, to be quite honest, I think after 2 to 3 years, people just want to polish it and move on to the next one, right? You're going to build up swirls and scratches on the paint, no matter how safe of a paint wash you're doing. You got abrasion when you're driving on the highway, all that dust and dirt, all the asphalt if they're doing construction. All this stuff will impede your coding and people want to redo it. Now, is it good to say, hey, this is going to last a while? Absolutely, because mentally it's like, yeah, but I think people need to understand that 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 codings you're going to renew it all the time. That's just me. Um, and in terms of Labo, I already told Reggie straight up. I said HPC Pro is just as easy to apply as HPC 2.0. Why don't you just get rid of HPC 2.0 and just keep HPC Pro for everybody to use? And I think he said it on the live chat. He said it's because there's certain detailers out there that want that exclusivity, and he wants to provide that exclusivity for those. Yes, it is slicker and it is much more water beating, that I could tell you, and a little bit hint of gloss than HPC 2.0. But it's just super easy that I don't feel that you should be certified. Now, Blendo, on the other hand, it's a bitch to apply. I've told a bunch of people, I said, yo, Blendo's a bitch. If you're not in a 70, if you're not in a garage set with the right humidity, you're and you leave a high spot, you're fucked. Um, that's pretty much it. I'm beat. Hopefully things have gotten better for you, Conway. Yep. Is there any other questions for you guys? Any other questions? But yeah, so that pretty much sums up, all this independent reviewer, and whether you are not an independent reviewer or whatever the case may be, or however, everybody's fucking biased, bro. Don't you could see through them and talking about, oh, the detailing game is too buddy buddy. Everybody has their own circle. Their circle is a different circle. It doesn't fucking matter, bro. Everybody has their own little fucking clique that they want to roll with. I don't give a shit. I just detail cars, and I'm here to show y'all what works and what are my initial thoughts. And I've noticed that my channel has been a little bit stagnant, and I'm guessing that is just because of the simple fact that I pretty much use the same chemicals all the time. I've never been a review channel. That was never really my thing. I've always liked to use stuff that I use in my business, and once in a while, once I run out of things, I will grab another product and try it out, and then that's when I give my initial review. But in terms of my channel being a dedicated review channel, it's never been my thing. Never been my thing. So, but yeah. So if anybody says out there that they're an independent reviewer and they're objectively unbiased because they are independent and they spend it, and they call suck a cock. They're not. They're biased off rip. Again, based on cost, based on what they want, and based on their environment that they're in, and that's it. So um, that that's pretty much it. Everybody's biased off rip. You as a viewer are biased ASAP because the minute you search up a product, your main concern is probably price, and also how quick can you get the product. If you're going to wait 7 days to get a product, you're probably going to be like, no, I'm going to go with this distribution center because I could get it in 3 days. So that's it. Everybody's biased off rip. So don't just sit here. Just, again, enjoy the content. I tell y'all the initial use and how it feels and how it works, and that's it. And my results speak for themselves. So that's about it. I should review the review channels. Yo, bro, Juice, do it, bro. You can review my channel. If you want, I don't care. Just do whatever you feel. I always throw nuggets in there. I never say something is the best. I always say this is great, this is good, this is how it's done, and it juice. If you deny that the results that I get with X product or X brand I'm not getting, then just let me know, right? That is the point of reviewing somebody else's work, right? Is can you objectively sit there regardless of the brand? What if I had a blank bottle and I'm just using whatever product I want? I guarantee you, if I don't say what product I'm using that day and I get the results, people are gonna say, yo, that is fucking great. You remove those scratches. What did you use? It doesn't matter what I used. It's just more of the technique. Use what you like. Like I always give nuggets and I always tell people straight up, do you need to buy this? Do you need to buy that? Like, no, this is what I use. Like, if you want the results I get, and if you like my workflow and you like me as a person, then use what I use because this is what I use on a day to day basis. That's it. I don't have no, look, I don't have no garage therapy. I don't have no next zen. I don't have no uh, Coach Kemi here anymore in this garage. On the other garage, you used to see I had Garlands, I had Envy, I had all those other stuff. But just certain things that the clean back pan, that's still all the ones from New York. So that's the one I bought over. And just to prove, empty. Use this. This one I use. This I don't use. It's still full. I don't. You all know me. I don't like quick detailers. Panel prep still full. I've already said my thing. This thing smells like nail polish, right? Um, like nail polish remover. So here I got Dr. Beasley's. Still use those. Be everybody gotta be freaking just look through the fakes and just get the results, man. I never claim durability on none of you guys. I've never used a sealant and tell you guys this will last this amount of time guaranteed. I've never said that in my life or with any coating. or with any coating. I just really talk about the cleaning chemicals of like, again, water spot removers. I rather use an acid, cleans up the scar and makes the one step easier, right? Um, yeah, man. Let's see. How quiet is the DIY 25? I think mine is loud and vibrating. Need to send it in. Yo, juice free. That's another thing. In terms of affiliate programs, I don't know which one pays the most. Typically, from what I have, and I always say people, and this is public knowledge. I've said this already in the past. The 10% off, you guys get 10% off, and I get 10% off, and that's another thing. 10% commission, but um, pretty much in terms of the affiliate links, I never got the affiliate links to sell ya product. Does that make sense? I never did that. I did that to save you all money because it was annoying back in the days where if you liked ADS, you have to if you liked ADS, you have to pay $18 for shipping or $17 for shipping. Then you like DIY. So you were spending already easily $60 on shipping. Easily $60 on shipping if you're buying for three different brands. So I was like, you know what? These are the three brands I like or I enjoy using, or these are some of the chemicals I enjoy using. And that's it. I still love ADS tire cleaner. I have the whole gallon right up there. Um, but but yeah, it's one of those things where it's really just to save y'all money to make it easier for y'all. I mean, if I don't want it, I could care less. Everybody has a fucking affiliate link at this point. There's a difference between how you got your affiliate link, in my opinion, versus um and that's another thing is how did you get your affiliate link, right? Did you do it because you were biased or did you do it because you wanted to save other people money, right? And is it something that you were using constantly? For me, was my YouTube channel was never a review channel, was always been a how-to videos and my results, and then whatever you could get products in. And the reason why I'm with Thor is because I like their selection. They have a huge selection of products. And most of it is with the stuff I like. I like ADS, I like Labo, I like a couple of things at DIY. If you look at DIY, most of the DIY stuff I really use is just their polishers, their polish and their pads. I mean, everything else is very in between that I'll probably use them. Yeah, so Titan Tim doesn't like the 25 millimeter DA. I like it. I like the balance of it. Again, Tim is his own person, and again, everything comes down to preference. Everything is subjective, just like pH neutral soaps. You can't tell me one pH neutral soap is really that much better or greater. Yes, of course, if you go to like the lower grades, but I'm talking about quality pH neutral soaps. They're all pretty much in the same boat. It's all very small margins um, in terms of like super cleaning power. But yes, you will get one better slickness, one this, but everything is just very marginal, and that's the same thing with polishing, in my opinion. Would be interesting to see if there is any correlations between the companies that pay the most in affiliate programs and the most popular ones on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, you can juice free. That's a great thing. You can do that. As I said, all the stuff I use here is because I use it in my business. I'm a business. I'm not a reviewer. I'm not a DIYer. So as I said, if you're a DIYer, you probably already going to be biased based on cost. And you cannot sit here and tell me it's a lie. So um, it just all depends. For me, is 10%, 10%. That's it. I don't even care if you guys use my discount code. I truly don't give a fuck. Just at the end of the day, just save money. Everybody nowadays have an affiliate link, so use theirs. I don't care. Doesn't really bother me. Just use the stuff I enjoy using if you want the same results I get. Fine light buffer is the best I've ever used. I mean, again, it's all subjective. I like the DIY one. I like the 21, the 25 millimeter throw. Again, everything is subjective. Yo, how's the crew doing? Chingy, Yo, what's going on, Chingy? For corded Tim, I love my Final iPad. For battery operated, Xiaomi or Milwaukee. The Milwaukee ones I use a lot. I've even tried it when I did the rotary training with Ivan. He had the Milwaukee rotary and the DA, and it's just too much vibration for me. I can't do it. ShineMate, I like the ShineMate, but it's too much of a right angle. With that battery, it's like too much looks like a right angle. And sometimes when I get closer to the panels, I just feel weird. So that's why I like the DIY because it's on top, the battery, and then the end is not that bulkiness like the SPTA what I was using. So it's just much easier. That's why I like the PXE80 from Flex. But that battery just sometimes when you get onto the corners, you can hit the side of the door or whatever. But that's the only one. It says late to the party, but I follow Mike Phillips' philosophy. Find something you like and use it. Exactly, exactly, Ron. That's exactly what I said. Use whatever you want. Everybody's biased to a degree, and that's what it is. Whether you're independent on unindependent, if you're a viewer, whatever, doesn't matter. Everybody's biased. So people seem to watch YouTube just to be the paid promotion police, gold detail, freaking car and shut up. No one cares. Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Is this whole debacle and all this other shit is all. I don't know, bro. It's like why the fuck does it matter? I mean, it depends on the context that you're using it for, right? It's it's who's the person behind whatever company you support or whatever the case is, right? What have they always like if you look at my channel, how often have I supported TRC before the House of Rags? Like all I said is their drying towels, I use their liquidator or their gauntlet, but everything else I barely bought for them. They only had two brands, and two of them I stopped using because I didn't really like them. For me, Optimum was going downhill, and then G Technic was another brand that I was just like, yo, this costs way too much money to do it. Yes, I will still buy CSL and EXO, but I wouldn't buy it from the Rad company. I will buy it from Detailed Image because again, this is the bias, right? Detailed Image was in New York. I would get that in 2 days instead of TRC, which would take me 7 days. So these are things that people need to understand is and then yeah, so at the time, yeah, that's the only two brands that they had was PNS, Optimum, and G Technic. Those were the only brands for the longest. Now they have ADS, now they have Coach Chemi, now they have Diamond Body, they have Storana Gloss. I don't think they're there anymore. But yeah, just use whatever brand you like, man. Where else are we going to argue about tire shine is fun, bro? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Tire shine, bro. There's only I feel like in the industry there's going to be a plateau, right? Everything has a plateau. Um, pH neutral soaps to me they have a plateau. There's only so much cleaning power you can really get until you prove otherwise that it could clean better than Primus or Touchless from Bill Hamber. That's the only thing. Um, I think Labo and my this is my philosophy on this part. This is just all opinion based on this what I'm about to say. Between Labo and Built Hamber, I think the UK people have the cleaning power down on their chemicals. I truly think that they are some one of the top best cleaning brands out there. When I mean like cleaning, um, not ceramic coatings. I sometimes I think the UK does take a little bit more effort for their coatings. But in terms of cleaning, again, Built Hamber and Labo are great. The reason why I use Labo is not because of Thor, it is because of the cost of my business, right? Especially since their iron remover is dilutable. Pretty much everything's dilutable. The only reason is um, I think a couple videos are out there that touchless or built hammer products are a little bit more expensive for us, right? Why the hell is the UK gonna buy, say, you know, X brand that's from here? I don't know, maybe Fine Lab. I don't know if Fine Lab's from an American bag. Let's just say Phoenix or Ono's Pride, right? Why are they gonna use an American brand knowing that shipping costs a bit more, and since they're shipping the product over there, it's going to cost more. That's why they like Built Hammer an American side, I prefer Labo because I think they did things smart because Labo sends their stuff to Canada and then they ship it from Canada to the US. So maybe that's why the cost is different. Maybe the customs is a different cost because they're shipping it to Canada and then from Canada they ship it to New York. Um, and yeah, I think that's why I like Labo more. Again, I'm a business, cost efficient. PNS isn't any better than chemical. Yeah, you see, Rick Smith, again, everybody has their opinion. PNS, they have a couple good stuff. Are they the best? From my opinion, no. I mean, they're not the best. No brand is the best. I try to stay away from companies that just rebrand a product and add to me. It says pan side dressing is pretty good. Yep. I mean, Titan Tim and I had this conversation. Him and I agree that solvent base lasts the longest, but it's also the most tedious to wipe off. And if you don't wipe it off properly and you apply a dressing on top of it, that's not say solvent base or water base, you get those streaks. And yeah, I've had excellent results with PNS. Their inspiration style coating is outstanding. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't used their Defender yet. I haven't used that. I love Paint Gloss. Paint Gloss is a great spray wax. I like it in direct sunlight. Use it. You're not going to get any streaks. It's awesome, but it's not extremely slick. I mean, but it works great. PNS Pro shampoo. Again, everything is a limit, right? Those are the ones I could say that are really good. Is PNS Pearl shampoo. Um, I like their finisher for their carpet cleaning. Um, I didn't really like Carpet Bomber. Terminator's good. But I just didn't like the whole 3 pH. It just made my process longer. That's why I ended up sticking with Bridgepoint with Flex Ice and BioBreak. But yeah, everybody has their ways of doing things. Chronos versus Pan versus Detail Code ceramic coating. I never used Detail Code ceramic coating, so I can't comment on that. Now, Chronos versus Pan. I only use Pan's coating twice. Chronos, I've used it 3 to 4 times. Ease of use, I have to give it a Pan. I have to give it a Pan. Now, in terms of longevity, um, Pan's coatings haven't been out that much. It's still going strong on some of my customers' vehicles, but again, they're rated 3, and I put an 8-year one, so I expect them to last more than a year. So we just this wow, exactly this in this day and age right now, it's exactly 1 month and a year and a month since I applied it on that Mazda, and the owner said that that was still doing really well. So yeah, Absolute's pretty good. Absolute rinseless wash, to be quite honest, I never like I liked it, but um I didn't like the smell, and that was the number one thing I said. It was it slick? Yes. Did it clean the best out of the mitt? No. And go back to my juice free, go back to my PNS review, see on how it cleaned off the washman. I said it smells like suntan lotion. That's the smell I got. It didn't smell like that coconut. It just smelled like I was at the beach, like suntan beach spray, that bath spray. That's what it smelled like to me, and I didn't use it. And again, that's subjective, right? Use what you like. And I didn't like how thick it was. That's another thing. Those little clumps, I didn't like that either. So just go back to my rinseless wash video. Can't stand absolute anything polymer. And that's another thing. Everybody, you're all gonna see my review on Yum, but I've always been straightforward on my channel. I prefer surfactant based rinses washes more. That's why I prefer DIY when they came out. Uh, McKee's N914 Eco Wash, and now I'm using Yum. Same thing with Nemesis. So I don't use pans because if I remember correctly, it's more polymer based, and the protection is pretty stout. So I don't like rinseless washes with protection. I like rinseless washes that are more pure cleaners, and Yum edges it out on being the fact that it's 100% surfactant, and yeah, and it's super slick for it. It edges out for sure. Not one company has the best product in every category. Yep, that's the reason why I get different products. Exactly, Stephen. And I'm gonna make a dedicated video of, like, say the top 3 products of every brand that I would buy. Coming from the House of Rags, coming from TRC, Garzilla, the stuff that I'll buy. I have used several PNS products and wasn't impressed. Breakbuster, Breakbuster to me didn't do it. That's why I didn't name it here. Breakbuster didn't do it. If I'm gonna get an all-in-one wheel and tire cleaner, Adams wheel and tire cleaner is really good. It's just too strong, and I don't like the kickback. Um, and it's way too high on the alkaline scale. And he doesn't recommend to dilute it, but I used to dilute it 1 to 1. Adams wheel and tire cleaner, but Maniac wheel and tire cleaner, you cannot go wrong with that. That is an awesome 2-in-1. Use it in a 5 to 1 dilution or 10 to 1. Keep it in with distilled water on your foamer, and that thing will do wonders. Wonders. That whole anti-corrosion, whatever. That's I don't know. I don't buy that stuff because it's going to get you drive your car for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks it rains 3 times. And where do you think that anti-rust inhibitors are? That probably only lasts a couple freaking days. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. And let me know if I'm lying. Sock, if you haven't tried thick ceramic coating, it should be a must. All right, I'll give it a shot once I go. It's hard for me to try new things. Conway, I have a couple of stuff in here that I got to go through, a couple of coatings, but once I get through those, I'll use it. I'll use it. Another thing for Maniac, for example, Maniac brand. If you're gonna use a true waterless wash with protection, Maniac's waterless wash is dilutable. I've made this video comparison again before the House of Rags was even out. Um, with Maniac versus DIY waterless wash, I said if you're going to use it as a once in a blue moon thing, the DIY detail waterless wash works good. But if you want something that's more cost effective and value, and that's your price point, is the Maniac um, waterless wash. It's dilutable. I want to hear Sock's top three Armor All and Chemical Guys product. Yo, to be quite honest, the top three Armor All, I you know what's funny? Their ceramic wash wasn't bad for Armor All. It's just you can get pretty streaky and it does feel a bit sticky. Now, in terms of their tire shine, I mean, again, it's a tire shine and it's very oily and wet. Does it work? Yes. Is it oily and greasy? Yeah. I mean, and then chemical guys. Hey, what's going on, Kim? In terms of chemical guys, what chemical guys? I say these are the gems that I thought, and I've used them in the past. You could go back 3 years. Go back 3 years. All the receipts are there. Chemical Guys VRP was really good until they tweaked the formula. Something they tweaked that messed up the longevity. Chemical Guys VRP was good. It's still good now, but is it really my go-to? No. But VRP was really good. Invisible, their APC, very good, very dilutable, safe on pretty much most plastics, and literally no smell. It was odorless. It's just no smell, cleans really good. And then what would be another one? The third one. I mean, the LV. I think it was the LV 007. Their 007 like spray sealant or whatever. It wasn't the fact in terms of protection. I don't care about the protection, but the ease of use was pretty nice. It can get streaky in direct sunlight, but it was really slick. So those I would say are like top. And their pink soap, yo, Mr. Pink, their pH neutral soap works good. Just doesn't really foam up too much. You got to use a lot, and and yeah, and it was decently slick. Yo, Black and Rap, have you tried it? I've been MIA. Yo, Kim, you gonna kill me? No, I haven't used it, and I have it right here. I'm sorry. It's just you know what it is. Is that here it is. You know what it is. It's that most of my job as a detailer is really to prep a vehicle, and if I'm prepping a vehicle, I'm just jumping straight to Primus and Purifica. I am jumping straight into Primus and Purifica right away. So it's kind of hard to use this unless it's a maintenance customer. And sometimes even as a maintenance customer, when they came in New York for coatings, it was pretty much to decon the paint and see how the coating's doing over time. So it's kind of hard for me to test something like that in my end, and that's just my honest opinion. That's why there's some chemicals I just don't review. it's kind of hard to wrap myself around this, no pun intended, um, because it's specifically made for those darker vehicles. So so yeah. Any other questions? Because I've been going in on the detailing world. Yeah, Black and Rap is from Maniac Line. It's Italian. It's made from Mafra, but this is I think more for it's a two-in-one shampoo. Let me see. It says a two-in-one shiny and stain resistant shampoo in only one product. So pretty much it helps more for darker paints, and that's about it. Um, but I haven't used this. I haven't had time. As I said, as a detailing business, it's kind of hard to just do this when most of the time I'm always either deconning or prepping a car to polish. So yeah, unless one day I get a car that says, "Hey, I'm just here for a regular wash." After 3 weeks after I ceramic coated it, then I'll give that a go. Sock, how am I liking the Ely setup? Setup, I love the Ely, man. That thing is the best garden hose I've ever bought. Worth worth $500 or however I paid. Worth every penny. All the disconnects, the hose, everything. Worth every penny. If you want to go bougie, and cost isn't an issue, that is best hands down. I could say that that is the to me the best hose, the best period on the market garden hose. Do, 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 do. But yeah, anything else you guys want me to tackle on any other questions that you guys have in terms of how the industry is and all this independent unquote independent reviewers and how they're not biased and yada yada yada. Stock, what are your favorite foam cannon? I like that Rain Kobo. It's cheap. And in terms of quivers, the MJJC V2. So those are my two favorite foam cannons. I used to use obviously the MTM foam cannon, but it was way too expensive at the time. Way too expensive. Cativa signature wax, wet wax, and gloss. Yep. Car gloss boosters. I don't have gloss booster. I have wet wax. That's the only one I have. I only used it once or twice. On my car, I'm only using Tim's high gloss detail spray because I'm not adding any protection on my vehicle. It's going to be straightforward, raw durability as possible. I'm not putting any toppers to see how far C6 Diamond Gloss goes. So, who are the three YouTubers channels you? Here's gonna sound crazy, man. I told Titan Tim this. I don't really watch any other content creators YouTube. I'm so more focused on my world. Really is I have a business. I have a business. I detail cars. Then I have to record a video, right? I do record videos for my channel, and then of course the weekly how-to videos on Thor's channel. So that takes up time. I do have a newborn, and then also on top of that, I have my main job. I'm an electrical engineer or project engineer now. That's my real role, but I'm an electrical engineer. That's where I got my bachelor's, and but I don't really have time to do it. You know, so so I don't really watch other YouTube channels. If anything, once I'm done detailing, I try to sit back, relax, and whatever video somebody suggests or asks me to watch, I'll probably watch it here and there, but that's pretty much it. Hey, thank you, Kim. Yeah, I had a newborn back in June. It's been a while. She's already 5 months old, but but yeah, it's just that's it. Do I have to polish after cleaning? No, you don't have to polish after cleaning. If you use a fine grade, when I mean a fine grade, um, clay bar, you don't really need to polish. It's just remember the claying aspect is because people say to clay after because a lot of people don't do things to the T. And when I mean to the T is they don't have enough lubrication on it. And if you spray it and you're doing it in direct sunlight, the minute you go over from one end to the other, you already marred the paint because once you get that gets stuck or grabby, you're marring the paint. Um, do you have to? No. I mean, will you leave some swirls and scratches? Possibly. I mean, it all depends also on the hardness and softness of the clear coat. You could just dry your car and you could get swirls and scratches if it's super soft paint. You can also um, have hard clear and it just doesn't scratch up. It just depends on what the car is giving you. Um, really, Keith. Hi, Sock. What's your go-to addressing oxidized headlights? What's your go-to for restoring faded gray exterior trim? So for faded gray exterior trim, I will go with Solution Finish, their gray trim restore. In terms of for oxidized headlights, let me see what percentage I'm on. Oh shit, I'm on 11%. Um, so let's see what's up. So for what are you gonna say? For oxidized headlights, I just like to use like P2, 2000 grit sandpaper, and that's pretty much it. Start doing that. Got to roll peeps. Appreciate you, Gary. And then I I use a clay towel on my black ceramic, but I'm not a pro, and it's my car. So yep, exactly. Uh, Bob at Chemex and Ammo are my favorite ones to watch. Yeah, I mean, look, Larry Ammo makes awesome content. That's another how-to product. He just has the theatrics down in terms of like the quality of the videos, how he zooms in, how he does that. It, yo, what's going on, Guardian Substock? You still thinking about painting a logo in your new cell? Painting a logo? Maybe. I mean, possibly. I'm not too sure. I do need to decorate this a little bit more. My three favorite YouTube detailers are Rick from Rag Garage. Yep. Ben Mihil, yeah, he's pretty good. And Jason Arnes from CarPro. Yep, exactly. Those are awesome. Great. Again, everybody gives awesome and teaches awesome value content. It's just who you like, who's a persona that you gravitate to, and that's it. Good choices, Ron. Yep. Extreme Solution LVO ultra heavy compound, almost too much for paint. Is the best. Yep. And then yeah, so I'm at 10%. I'll give this a little 10 more minutes to go. Looks like it's going down. And then once it dies down, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Whoever wants to clip this, send it to whoever you want. But this is pretty much how the detailing industry is, man. This is pretty much how the detailing industry is. Is Pepsi the best? I'm biased. I'm going to say yeah because I love Pepsi. What do you think about polishing trim with something like Gold Standard before applying? So I've done it before, even before Gold Standard. I was using Optimum Hyper Polish, and that was when uh, Dr. Guzzi and Mike Phillips on Auto Geek showed it, saying that it's safe on plastic trim. And I think Jason Lovato, before he was on it, I think he was like a guest on it as well before he started actually working for Auto Geek. And that's what I used to use. It's good to clean it up. The fact that it cleans it up, whatever. Don't use pressure. That's what people need to understand. Don't use it on speed setting 6 and hold pressure because the friction of the pad eventually will, excuse me, will burn up the paint. I just use it on speed 1, go across it 1 or 2 times pretty quick. Clean it up. You get the oxidation transfer on your pad. Clean it up. Panel prep. Good to go. I mean, that's the cleanest that you'll get. And a lot of people need to understand too is before you ceramic coat a plastic is very porous. So when you use any type of panel prep, you want to wait about 10 to 15 minutes before coating right over it. You want all those solvents, and not just the solvent, but also the surfactant from your cleaner to evaporate from the pores of the plastic before you put any type of protection on. Jason Rose, I learned that from Jason Rose, Rupes, over 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He was saying that that panel prep at a microscopic level, you need to be careful because those surfactants, paints are porous. You need to give it time to air out. So the way I polish, once I polish a car and I remove the polishing oils, I use panel prep, go around the car, and once I'm done, it's been about 15 minutes since where I started, and that's where I start applying the coating. Why do you think some brands don't hit well with consumers, or products do you think that people overlook any brands? In terms of some brands, it all depends on it all depends on how people look at it, right? Like there's certain people that it's kind of hard to look at turtle wax for me because when I was using turtle wax, there really wasn't much innovation that was going on with turtle wax, right? That's just an example. Same thing with McGuire's, and there's other reasons why certain companies are overlooked because sometimes they only have one gem, right? Or their marketing isn't great. Sometimes they have a lineup of 10 and one is a gem, and you know that's it. The other thing is marketing. You have to market yourself as any type of businesses. If you don't do any good marketing, you're not going to get clientele. And being part in a industry that has a lot of chemicals, it's pretty hard. That's like me trying to come out with a dish soap. It's like which one is better? Kimberly Clark, Dawn, Palm Olive, all these other stuff. So I can't really name any brands. It's kind of hard because I don't really go out to look for any real major brands. I just test things that I possibly find that people recommend that I haven't tried, and like from you guys, from your subscribers, there's a bunch of subscribers that always recommend stuff, and that's why I try it. Um, or I just look on the forums when I used to and give it a go. I use sand disc. Yep, exactly. I like to sand as well for the headlights. Does it help to or hurt the application of the plastic restore? No, I answer your question, J Farm. Is just make sure that you panel prep it correctly and wait 10 to 15 minutes. Make sure all the surfactants and oils are pretty much evaporated from the pores of the plastic, and then you could go ahead and coat right over it. I've had no issues whatsoever in my life. If you already have tiger striping, it's not going to make the tiger striping better. You're just going to clean up the oxidation. That way, more of the dye can get into the plastic and last a bit longer. It's probably marginal, probably an extra 2 months, whatever the case may be. But the cleaner the surface, the better it is. Same thing with a coating. Sock, how has it been restarting GPB and oh yeah. So in terms of learning, it's the same thing. It's more marketing. Like the good thing with me is I'm stuck on my prices, and customers tend to value that, and that's pretty much it. It's just how do you market yourself when people call? How are you able to really get them? So in order to close a business is get them to your place. That's pretty much it. That's how you all start. Don't try to scare them off saying, "Can you see swirls and scratches? It's a brand new car. You may have sort." No, don't. Just get them to the shop. See if they're willing to come in. Obviously, right away they're always going to shop on price first, and but first you just say, "Hey, look, this is the range. It could be cheaper depending on um, how the vehicle is. It's better for me to see it in person, and this way we can really do a thorough walk around. That's it." And once they show up, you pretty much that's your sales pitch to the best representative brand is ammo. Yep, yep. I love turtle wax because my head's shaped like it. And yeah, so all right, so I'm I'm 4%. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. So I appreciate you all for sitting here through this live. I talked a lot. So again, if anybody says they're an independent reviewer and they're not biased and they're only objectively think, look at what they drive, look at what they're doing, look at how they do things, and see if they're really objective because you can't be objective in anything biased, right? You can't say I'm only a person that likes to shop based on price and performance, but then they have a Porsche or a BMW M7. That doesn't make no fucking sense. You can't say you're shopping on price and something's more expensive and then you buy something knowing that it's more expensive in the long run. So just again, everybody's bias off rip from where they live, depending on what is their budget. And again, all chemicals work different in different environment and they're biased based on the environment that they're in. So that's pretty much it. Chemical thresholds mean nothing to me. I don't really care for a chemical test or torture test. I care about real life. I used turtle wax seal and shine before. It works great as a chemical test, yes, because I've done it on myself. And then I put it on my car and it didn't really last too long again in my environment. So those are just things to go. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So that is that. If somebody says that they've tested everything objectively and that, and they only have one car, two cars, and not a business, it's kind of hard to take that as a hard true thing, especially saying that I've used this product on many vehicles and the product just came out 3 weeks ago when they only have one or two vehicles. There's no way you can be objective on stuff like that. So that is just my thing. Hopefully you all enjoyed this live. I appreciate all y'all tuning in. And then any other questions, just leave it down below in the comment section if you all want to comment. And then yeah. So later guys. Peace. How I shut this off?